In lesson 414, we are working on addition and subtraction of money. You will need your whiteboard marker, and your eraser as we complete this lesson. I would like you to go ahead and number 1 to 3 on your whiteboard. We're going to do some rounding of decimals. Would you please round each of these to the nearest whole number, the nearest 1? You don't have to write down the decimal, but go ahead and round it to the nearest whole number, the nearest 1. Stop or pause the video. 3 7/10 is closer to 4. 2 3/100 is closer to 2. And 7 81/100 is closer to 8. Eraser whiteboard. Round each of these numbers to the nearest 10th. Don't forget, remember, you're changing the tenths place, but don't change the whole number before it. Pause the video and round each one to the nearest 10th. 93/100 is closer to 9/10. Again, you can put that 0 there or leave it off. Number 2, it's closest to 2 7/10 or 2 70/100. And number 3 is closest to 7/10 or 700 thousandths. And one last warm-up for this type of problem. Please round this one, each of these, to the nearest thousandths. So remember, the thousands is the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Pause the video and write down each decimal rounded to the nearest thousandth. Number 1 would be 7. Get my decimal in there. 7 289 thousandths. You can put a 0 behind there if you'd like. Number 2, 8. 294 thousandths. If you put the 0 there, it'd be 8 2,940 10,000ths. And lastly, remember, there's not a number there to round to. It would be a 0, so it'd be 6 994 thousandths. On your whiteboard, to solve the number story, explain your strategy to a partner. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and do this on your own. So imagine you had $1.46 in your piggy bank. You found 17 cents between the couch cushions. How much money do you have now? Please solve. Show your work on your whiteboard. Pause the video. Are you adding or subtracting 17 cents? You're adding, so you take $1.46 plus 17 cents. 6 plus 7 is 13, carry your 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6. You'd have $1.63. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Imagine you bought a vegetable tray for $12.19. You paid with a $20 bill. How much change would you get? How much change would you get? So are you adding or are you subtracting? You are subtracting. Be careful with this one. You can do it. Pause the video and see if you have the same solution as I do. I'm going to bring my decimal point straight down, and I'm going to borrow. Just going to keep working my way over. Now 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. You should receive $7.81 in change. All right, let's imagine that I got some birthday money and I decided to buy some Pokemon things. I decided to buy this trainer trivia game. You can see the cost is $25.49. We won't worry about tax, but let's imagine that I gave $30 a 20, and a 10. And my purchase is $25.49. Would you go ahead and write this on your whiteboard? Well, since I owe this money, the first thing I'm going to do is bring down my decimal point. I'm subtracting. I cannot take 0 minus 9, so I have to go all the way over to the 3 and make it a 2. Then put that 10 in front of the 1 in front of the 0 to make 10. Now borrow from the 9. Put that 1 in front of the 0. Make that a 9. And now I can go 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 4 is 5. My decimal point, bring it straight down. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 0. How much change should I get back? $4.51. So, what would the cashier give me back? What would be the least amount of change that I would get back? I would get 4 $1 bills, 2 quarters, 2 quarters, and 1 penny. Okay, let's say I buy a Fortnite Joyride Whiplash vehicle, $16.99. Let's imagine I give the cashier a $20 bill. So on your whiteboard, please go ahead and write down 20. Next, we have to give, or they're going to take money away because we bought something. I'm lining up my decimal points very carefully. So I bring my decimal points straight down. I cannot take 0 minus 9, so I'm going to go all the way over the 2 and make it a 1. I can only move that 1 or that 10 that I borrowed over one place. Then I can borrow from that, move it over one place to the right, borrow from that. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. My change would be $3.01. Okay, imagine I went to Target and I bought a Lego Star Wars Clone Troopers building kit. I had a $50 gift card from my grandparents. So go ahead and write $50 on your whiteboard. We're not worrying about tax, and yes, there is tax on toys. So line up your decimal points, bring that straight down. Go ahead and subtract. Do it on your whiteboard. Don't just watch. So I cannot take 0 minus 9. So I borrow from the 5 and make it a 4. Put that 1 in front of 10. Now I can borrow from there. Put that 1 in front of the 0 in the 10th place. Borrow from that. Now I can take 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 9 is 0. And 4 minus 2 is 2. What change would I get back? Most likely a $20 bill and 1 penny. Go ahead and move to journal page 151. Journal page 151. At the top, we are going to put a greater than, less than, or equal to sign. So the first thing I do is compare the ones place. The same, so I'm going to move now to the tens place. 9 is greater than 8. B, start with the ones place, the same. So the next place I move to is the tenths. 5 is less than 8. We're not looking at 52 versus 8. We're looking at the tens place. C, 6 and 6 is the same. Next, I'm going to look at the tenths, 9 and 3. 9 is greater than 3 tenths. D, ones place, same. Move to the tenths, 0 and 2. 2 is greater, so the opening goes to the greater number. 4 and 5 hundredths is less than 4 and 2 tenths. And lastly, One's place is the same, so I move to the tenths, 3 and 5. 5 is greater, so 38 hundredths is less than 5 tenths. Number 2, which of the following shows expanded form using exponential notation for the number 315,796? We're looking for exponential notation. We're looking for exponents. Be careful with this one. A does work, but it doesn't use exponents. Either does B, but 3 times 10 to the 5th, remember, would be 3 with 5 zeros behind it. Plus 1 times 10 to the 4th is 4 zeros behind it. 5 times 10 to the 3rd is 5 with 3 zeros behind it. 7 times 10 to the 2nd is 7 with 2 zeros behind it. 9 times 10 to the 1st is 9 with 1 zero. And 6 times 10 to the 1st is 6. So be careful on that one. They were all correct, except for the C, use exponents. Number 3, 1/3 of 30. 3 times what gives me 30? 10. 1/8 of 16. 8 times what gives me 16? 2, and there's one group of 2. And of means to multiply, so 5 times what gives me 25? 5 with one group of 5. How would you write 54 and 279 thousandths in words? I'm looking here. This says thousandths. This says hundredths. This doesn't say anything. So it would have to be 54 and 279 thousandths. Okay, today you're going to have to upload a sheet into Notability. You are going to be purchasing toys from a toy shop. Be careful with your subtraction and show all your work.